Good morning, club members. We digest world-class journalism and talk it through in plain English. Here are 5 stories worth your time. Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has walked away from a trade deal with Donald Trump. That sudden move triggered new American taxes of 50% on Canadian goods worth $20 billion. Just 2 days earlier, Donald Trump claimed an agreement was nearly finished. Yet minutes before midnight on Friday, the Canadian team walked out of the room. Mark Carney announced that he will not accept a bad deal under artificial deadlines. Donald Trump fired back, saying Canada wants the benefits of being an American state without joining. So why did Canada choose a costly trade war over a signed peace? The answer sits in a difficult trade-off between national pride and everyday household bills. Standing up to Washington is very popular with Canadian voters right now. Most Canadians prefer a firm leader to an agreement that feels like surrender. However, defying the White House comes with a heavy price tag. Economists warn that the new American duties could push Canadian inflation up to 4%. About 90,000 people might lose their jobs in the coming months. That could lift the national unemployment rate to 7%. The cost of living remains the biggest worry for most families across the country. If everyday prices jump quickly, public patience with this fight could wear thin. Local politics inside Canada also make this stand very risky. The Premier of Ontario wants to fight back hard by cutting off energy supplies. Yet the western province of Alberta sells huge amounts of oil to American refineries. Alberta has avoided the worst of the duties and wants to keep trade quiet. In October, Albertans will vote on whether they even want to stay in Canada. At the same time, the French-speaking province of Quebec is holding an election. Carney had to show Quebec that he would protect local rules from American pressure. Canada now plans to hit back with matching tariffs on September 8th. Carney is buying time, hoping the upcoming American elections will give him better leverage. Whether Canadian voters will support that gamble once prices start rising remains to be seen. For our second story today, we turn from trade battles to a quiet domestic crisis. Singapore has just launched a massive cash plan to encourage families to have more children. The government is offering parents over $55,000 for every child. That total builds on earlier handouts, but the new payments stretch over many years. Families will receive $10,000 at birth, with more support until age 17. There's also extra money reserved for higher education later in life. On top of that, ministers are expanding paid leave and helping parents buy flats. The state will even cover more leave costs for employers. Yet the city-state is fighting against a very steep decline. Last year, the national fertility rate fell to a record 0.87. That sits far below the 2.1 needed to replace the population. In fact, it is approaching the world record low seen in South Korea. At the same time, better healthcare means people are living much longer. This year, more than 21% of the population is 65 or older. That pushes Singapore into what the United Nations calls a super-aged society. By 2030, 1 in every 4 Singaporeans will be a senior citizen. Why are young couples hesitating despite such massive cash incentives? Many young people say the daily cost of living remains far too high. Others put their energy into building careers and financial security before thinking of babies. A growing number have simply decided against having children altogether. Prime Minister Lawrence Wong recently spoke plainly about these limits. He warned that cash alone will never lift birth rates back to normal levels. Without outside help, the workforce would shrink and fewer workers would support more seniors. That is why Singapore will continue to rely on immigration. Still, bringing in foreign workers can cause friction among local citizens. Many residents worry about higher housing costs, crowded spaces, and competition for good jobs. The government insists it will manage new arrivals at a careful pace. Ministers want to keep Singaporeans as the majority while keeping the economy alive. Cash can help young parents, but it cannot reverse deep social changes on its own. That leaves Singapore walking a very fine line between shrinking at home and opening its doors. For our third story, we move from family cash in Singapore to cameras on our faces. A young woman was recently shopping in a store when a stranger approached her. He tried to start a conversation, but she politely declined and walked away. Soon after, she was shocked to find that the entire encounter had been filmed. The man was wearing Meta smart glasses with small cameras hidden in the frames. He posted the recording online to show off his flirting skills to thousands of followers. The clip triggered immediate anger from people who felt their privacy was being invaded. Meta quickly banned the account, but the wider problem continues to grow. In Britain, some pubs and courtrooms have already banned these glasses from their premises. Business owners and judges do not want people recorded without their clear permission. Yet this public backlash stands in sharp contrast to the plans of big tech companies. Leaders at Meta, Google, and OpenAI see smart glasses as the next major computing revolution. They believe these wearable frames will eventually replace the smartphone in your pocket. The goal is to give artificial intelligence a direct window into your daily life. A standard mobile phone stays hidden away for most of your day. Glasses, on the other hand, see exactly what you see and hear your surroundings. That constant stream of live information helps a digital assistant learn your habits. It can help you remember names, manage your calendar, or find lost items instantly. Meta executives argue that billions of people already wear vision glasses every day. They believe speaking softly to your frames will soon feel completely normal and effortless. But privacy campaigners strongly disagree with this cheerful vision of the future. They describe the glasses as a dangerous breach of the basic social contract. In an ordinary street or shop, you can no longer tell who is secretly filming. That uncertainty could slowly erode everyday trust between strangers in public places. Despite the heavy criticism, consumer interest in wearable technology is expanding very fast. Analysts expect people will spend more than $1 trillion on wearable gadgets by 2032. Tech companies are racing ahead, convinced that this intimate hardware is our inevitable future. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens and local venues are putting up protective signs at the door. The real question is whether society will accept constant surveillance for the sake of convenience. For our fourth story today, we move from smart glasses to international finance. When wealthy nations send foreign aid to developing countries, where does that cash actually go? Economists have always known that corrupt local officials steal a slice of development money. In the past, those officials hid their stolen cash in secret offshore bank accounts. But moving money through foreign banks takes time, paperwork, and willing bankers. Now, a major new study shows corrupt actors have found a much faster route. They are quietly turning billions of aid dollars straight into Bitcoin. Researchers tracked World Bank payments across 93 countries over a 6-year period. They examined more than $200 billion in total aid disbursements. Whenever a fresh payment arrived, digital currency activity in that country changed overnight. Anonymous trading on unregulated tax haven exchanges jumped by more than 100%. At the exact same time, people created thousands of untraceable digital wallets. This flurry of secret transactions was sharp, but it was also brief. The surge faded after a month or two, right after the money moved offshore. The researchers estimate that between 2 and 6% of this aid vanished into crypto. That means up to 6 cents of every aid dollar went into private pockets. Curiously, the type of project made a massive difference to the scale of theft. Money meant for large transport projects, like roads and bridges, showed heavy crypto leakage. Giant infrastructure contracts are easy to inflate with fake invoices and secret kickbacks. By contrast, aid sent directly to local healthcare programs showed almost no crypto response. Doctors and clinics tend to spend the money directly on medicine and patient care. The true scale of this theft is almost certainly larger than the headline figure. This study only tracked Bitcoin, which leaves a public trail of transactions. Today, many money launderers prefer stablecoins, which are digital tokens tied to the US dollar. Those tokens are far more private, so they conceal even more stolen public wealth. For international development banks, this finding creates a deeply uncomfortable problem. Donor governments already face immense pressure from voters to cut their overseas aid budgets. If that money simply feeds anonymous crypto wallets, public trust will collapse entirely. Global lenders must now decide how to police digital currencies before releasing their next funds. For our final story today, we turn from digital currencies to corporate spending. A massive investment divide is opening between the United States and Europe. American businesses are pouring money into new equipment and technology at a rapid pace. Since the pandemic, corporate spending across America has surged ahead. Forecasts show American business investment will grow 40% in real terms by next year. Across the euro area, business investment is projected to rise just 12%. In Germany, corporate spending has all but stagnated over that exact same 6-year period. That means American business spending is expanding more than 3 times faster than Europe. The primary engine behind this American surge is artificial intelligence. American companies are racing to build massive data centers and buy specialized computer chips. Just 4 big tech giants are leading this astonishing spending spree. Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon will invest over $725 billion this year. They are spending that money in 2026 alone to secure computing power. For European policymakers, these forecasts present a deeply frustrating challenge. Europe was already lagging behind in information technology before large language models even appeared. In September 2024, European leaders received a landmark report on industrial competitiveness. That report warned Europe to invest heavily or risk losing economic ground. Yet the latest forecasts show that Europe has made almost no progress since then. European firms remain cautious, hesitant to commit huge sums to untested digital infrastructure. At the same time, this aggressive American boom carries its own serious dangers. Major financial institutions, including the Bank for International Settlements, are sounding alarms. They warn of the rising risk of a costly investment bust. Building giant computing facilities requires staggering amounts of cash and electrical power. If these new AI systems do not produce real profits, corporate losses could follow. So both economies are now caught in very different kinds of trouble. Europe risks falling far behind without modern high-tech tools. Meanwhile, America bets hundreds of billions on technology that might not pay off. That brings us to the end of today's stories. Thank you for sharing your breakfast with me, and I will see you tomorrow morning.